The McDonald's boys case is one of the most infamous cases in Singapore. During break time at school, the two boys decided to walk to the local shops to buy some snacks, but they were never to be seen again. The puzzling disappearance of the McDonald's boys made headlines, and it had received a large amount of media coverage. But unfortunately, the case still remains unsolved. Let's unfold the case of the McDonald's boys. On the morning of the 14th of May 1986, Huat asked to go to school on his own that day as he was meeting his best friend Chin An. His mother allowed him to do so but found this weird because his son rarely went anywhere without her. The pair safely arrived at school, but around 12:30 p.m. they left their bags in class before heading to a nearby shop for snacks. Around 20 minutes later, at 12:55, their class started, but 12-year-old Chin An and To Huat were nowhere to be seen. So the school gave the parent of both of the boys a call to notify them of their absence and to check whether they have gone home. Unfortunately, neither of the parents knew where the boys were, and both of the parents were quick to arrive at school. This was out of the ordinary as they were both very well-behaved students and rarely misses a class. Both families were very concerned and decided to search the school to see if they were in the building, but unfortunately they were nowhere to be seen. They were beginning to get more anxious and worried as the time passed, so they decided to call the police in the evening of the boys' disappearance. The police searched the estate surrounding the boys' school for days, but they didn't find anything useful. They even distributed thousands of missing posters asking for anyone who had information on the whereabouts of them. Singapore is known to be relatively safe, so when the case went public, it received a large amount of media coverage. It was named the McDonald's boys case as McDonald had offered a very generous amount of $100,000 to propel the investigation. Both of the parents said neither of the boys took any extra clothes or money with them before they disappeared from the face of the earth. Huat's mum, Tan Kuk Hwan, said Huat's money in his two piggy banks were untouched. He even asked me to prepare pork chops and potato chips for dinner before he left that day. The parents were desperate for them to come home, so offered $1,000 reward each to anyone that can provide information leading to the boys being found. Unfortunately, there was still no news on the whereabouts of the boys, so the reward was later increased to $5,000. On the 27th of August 1986, there was a reported sighting of the missing boys on Pulau Ubin, an island northeast of mainland Singapore which is easily accessible by boat. Close to 100 officers were dispatched to Pulau Ubin, however they came back empty-handed. A few days later, on the night of the 3rd of September 1986, Chin An's father, Chen Pan, received a phone call from an anonymous person. But what was said on the phone call remains unclear. However, what we do know is that it was very distressing for Chin An's father and triggered a stroke, which he was later admitted to hospital for treatments. Huat's mother had also received a similar phone call that night, 30 minutes after Chin An's father received the phone call. It was from an unknown man stating that they will never see his son again. Both families were desperate for their son to return, and it's been 4 months since their disappearance. So they decided to increase their reward to $20,000 on the 22nd of September 1986. Posters were stuck on the walls of Singapore, and police expanded their search to Thailand and Indonesia, but sadly there were no sign of the boys. On the 14th of May 1993, Chin An and Tan Huat are declared legally dead. Even decades after their disappearance, there's been a lot of speculation surrounding the fate of the boys, but there were mainly 3 theories. First theory was that Huat's father had abducted the boys because of his failed marriage with Huat's mother. It was found Tan Kwan was not Huat's biological mother. In fact, Huat was the son of his father's mistress, but she didn't want to raise him, so Huat was under the care of Tan Kwan. The mistress told the police that she received a phone call from Huat's father a week before the boys' disappearance. The mistress recalled Huat's father asking her whether she wanted to take Huat back. She responded by saying no, to which he said he'll find his own way to keep his son and warned her not to tell anybody about this. In 1996, Huat's father was questioned by the police, but he denied taking his son, and there was a lack of evidence to suggest he kidnapped them both, so he was released. But if so, why would he kidnap Chin An as well? The second theory was that the boys had run away from home. However, this was very unlikely given they both had a very normal home life and both families said they wouldn't run away and for such an extensive period of time. Their teachers also thought highly of the boys, saying they were model students and rarely missed class. The final theory is also the most widely accepted one. Some people have claimed to have seen the limbless boys begging on the streets of Bangkok, Thailand. Illegal human trafficking was common at that time, so the boys could have been kidnapped, had their limbs cut off and then forced to beg for money. And they were victims of human trafficking. After the police in Singapore heard about this, they then went to Malaysia, Indonesia and Thailand but couldn't find any information that was useful. As of today, the case remains unsolved. So what do you think happened to the McDonald's boys? Let me know in the comment section down below, and thank you so much for watching. I hope I earned myself a subscription and a recommendation today. Click here to watch another video and please do stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.